Rural communities are at the heart of the United States food production, but they're faced with the challenge of young people leaving in search of greater economic opportunities elsewhere. Big Idea Ventures is announcing a Clinton Global Initiative commitment to action to launch the Generation Food Rural Partners Fund to invest $125 million to support the food and agriculture sectors in rural communities. Generation Food Rural Partners will work together with universities to develop food and agriculture technology to create and support 40 new companies. These investments will bring living wage jobs to rural communities across the United States, so families can live with economic security and encourage the next generation of food and agriculture tech innovators. If we want to see rural communities thrive, we need to create environments where people can thrive. And that means access to good paying jobs and opportunities that both keep and attract talent. I can't wait to see Generation Food Rural Partners' impact on all the people who feed the rest of us.
Good morning. I'm Gail Zamak-Laman. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so excited to see all of you, because there actually could not be anything more joyful to talk about than people who are creating a better tomorrow. As we think about a world of more for more, and how do we create a world in which more people have more of a stake in a more inclusive economy, we have the pioneers and the architects right here in this room, and I could not be more delighted. CGI Greenhouse, as some of you might say, what exactly is Greenhouse? Well, it's a place where we come together to talk about how do we drive innovation forward and get beyond the funny words and the long phrases and the, I'll make fun of my own alma mater, business school, a jargon, and actually talk about what changes people's lives, what creates economic growth, and as Cherie Blair has talked about, what creates lives so that women and girls can have the economic agency to create change for everybody in their community. More than 230 companies were nominated by the CGI community, and a cohort of 30 social entrepreneurs from around the world are here today. Throughout the annual meeting, we'll host 5 sessions. You're here for the first one, so welcome to the inaugural event. And we will really be talking about 10 startups within each of these focused on inclusive economic growth. The key of the CGI Greenhouse program is to offer some of the social capital needed to grow, to introduce technologies and business models, and to really connect and support entrepreneurs. So all of you have a role. There's no sitting in the audience for this one, because I know we have investors, we have folks in multinationals who are looking at early stage companies and how they connect. And something I'm working on a lot these days is how do we create the connectivity between global power brands that are shaping the world and early stage companies that are reshaping communities and creating and architecting hope and growth. So all of this is today that we're going to hear about our amazing judges who are here that you'll hear from in a little bit. And I wanted to say that as a result of a very gracious gift by the entrepreneur Kevin Chu, 2023 marks the first year that CGI will provide prizes for entrepreneurs in Greenhouse. One startup each in inclusive economy, climate resilience, so come back, we're going to do climate resilience after this, and health equity will receive a prize of $25,000 to be used toward achieving their work toward impact, mission, and growth. So before we move into hearing from these incredible entrepreneurs, we're going to hear from a powerful speaker. And I'd like with that to welcome Ms. Cherie Blair, founder of the Cherie Blair Foundation for Women, and somebody I've shared stage known for the years. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. And I stand before you here to tell you how powerful these meetings are, and how what happens in this room today can really lead to sustainable, exciting change. Why do I say that? Well, because back in 2009, I announced the launching of the Cherie Blair Foundation for Women here in CGI. And it was the 5th CGI conference, and I spoke about my passionate belief that the greater role that women play in our economy and in our society, then the better the chances of overcoming the challenges we face. And at that day, we made a small but very specific commitment that my foundation and its partners would increase women's participation in the labor force in Nablus in Palestine by supporting women entrepreneurs. And we did. We went on to provide training and access to those women. And we grew first with just 24 women artisans. But thanks to the continuing support of that commitment over the next couple of years, we grew to 150 more women. And then further, we expanded into Lebanon with a further 200 women. And it was the beginning of the many successes that the foundation has had on our 15-year journey, starting in these fruitful attendances here at CGI. And I'm proud to say that together with our partners, to date, we have reached over 200,000, in fact, nearly 250,000 women entrepreneurs, over 100 low and middle-income countries. And Bill mentioned food today. I can assure you, many of the women we work with work in food. Because, let's face it, across the world, it's women who do the farming. It's women who use the farm produce to make the chutneys, to make the meals. And yet, when you look at women's representation in agribusiness, where are the women? This is not right, this is not fair, and we are doing something about it. But our incredible women, who are not just in agriculture, they are in every industry you can imagine. They're not only empowering themselves, they are providing better lives for their children, supporting their families, but they go wider than that. They're providing jobs and services that their economies need. They're solving social issues and providing powerful innovations in the social economy. They're leading their community and making women's voices heard in their community. They inspire and influence others. You know, they are changing the world. And through these women, thanks to the vital private and public sector partnerships, so much a part of the CGI mission, we have touched the lives of millions of others. But I'd like to say the work is over. Of course, it is not. Despite the changes we've seen over the last few decades, we're still looking at those sustainable development goals. We're looking at, are we going to achieve Goal 5, gender equality? Are we going to achieve Goal 8, sustainable economic development? We can't do it without women. Women continue to face restrictive gender roles and stereotypes, so important about what women are told they cannot do. Unequal pay, unpaid care work. They have limited access to credit and resources because some incredible reason, despite all the evidence to the contrary, people still seem to think that women can't be relied on for credit, when actually, I'm afraid, guys, it's more likely the men you can't rely on. We have discriminatory laws, we have underrepresentation in decision-making roles, whether it's in a local community, a regional community, national communities, and here during UN Week in the UN itself. And so I stand before you again today, 14 years on from that first commitment, to make you a new commitment. We are making a commitment as a foundation to work with our partners, a very ambitious commitment. By 2020, we will enable 1 million women in low and middle-income countries to start, to grow, and to sustain successful businesses. But when I say we, I don't mean me. I mean we, everybody in this room can come on this journey with us. Our strategy is called Ready for Business, and we are looking for partnerships that enable us to radically scale our reach, our impact, and achieve that commitment in 2 phases. Because I know businesses like short and long-term goals. So our medium-term goal is to reach 400,000 women by 2026, eminently doable. And to do that, we're going to scale up our existing projects in person and in digital training programs in Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, Guyana, Vietnam, and Indonesia. And we are going to expand those into new countries, particularly in Africa, in the Caribbean, and in Asia. We will increase the reach of our online mentoring program, which is delivered online and therefore available all over the world and already reaches 100 different countries. We're going to create new programs because you can't stop in business. It's always the next thing. There's always the next idea. And we will do major research and advocacy initiatives so that people will understand the need for systemic change and that people will understand why that systemic change, if done, will actually make the Sustainable Development Goals achievable. And then in phase 2, we're going to move from those 400,000 to that magical 1 million women by 2030. And we're doing that in partnerships with governments, with the private sector, with civil society, with academia, but most importantly, with each and every woman herself, because each of them has a voice, each of them has talents, each of them has ambition, and we are working alongside them to unleash that talent, to empower those voices, and to ensure that their businesses grow and thrive. So, partnerships are integral, and that's why we need you. We need more partners, we need more donors, we need people with time and expertise to support our commitment and drive the huge impact that women entrepreneurs themselves will make. And by the way, if we can achieve, as we will, Sustainable Development Goal 5 and 8, believe me, that will have an amazing impact on all the other goals, because there's not a single goal that you can achieve in the Sustainable Development Framework without the contribution, the real contribution of women. Now, I know that many of you in this room are successful entrepreneurs and you understand the realities of entrepreneurship. I congratulate you all for already having achieved and done so much. And I invite you to share that achievement and experience with us and pass on your hard-won learning and success to those women entrepreneurs who are hungry to know how you did it and how they can do it too.
This session will begin.
I think that means shut up, Sheree, and get off the stage. So I will absolutely do that and just say one thing to all of you. I tell you a story of success from CGI. Use this opportunity, as I did. Make connections, exchange business cards, exchange ideas, but more importantly, get those phone numbers and emails. I've been distributing mine around, and Pem, who's here, will be distributing even more, so you can contact me, because this is the time to make connections. This is the time to build partnerships, and then, as we have found, things can really get moving, and we will achieve that goal. In fact, there's no reason why we can't achieve it before 2030, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We will smash it, and we will smash the development goals as well. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Gail Samak Laman.
Inviting our judges to the stage, because I think the most exciting part of today, and there are many, is that we have so many different points on the circle in one room. We have investors, we have founders, we have philanthropies. So nobody gets out of the work. We all have a lot to gain, so let's get started. And I'd like to welcome our judges to the stage. Jacques-Philippe Pivaget of Good Light Capital, welcome. Somachi Chris Asoluka, thank you so much for joining us, of the Tony Elumelu Foundation. Thank you. And Sam Sturm, Chief Venture Architect of Founders Factory, which is focused on early stage investing. So I'd like to start by asking each of you, what are you seeing? You all are touching different points on the circle of the same sets of questions we're wrestling with. How do we start companies that grow? How do we foster impact? And how do we make sure that we're creating an ecosystem in which people thrive? So I guess I would start with you, me having the pleasure of sitting closest to you. Can you talk to me about, Jacques-Philippe, about what Good Light Capital does, and how do you think about what themes are when you talk about inclusive economic growth as you think on the investing side?
Sure, thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here. And I think actually Ms. Blair covered a lot of what's really important in terms of inclusivity and including women. And Good Light Capital specifically targets underrepresented founders, women, Black, Hispanic, groups that have largely been marginalized from traditional venture capital flows, and especially those who are at the intersection of high growth tech and consequential challenges. So over the last couple of years, we've invested in a dozen companies, from AI and IoT to prevent wildfires, or drone technology to repair utility wire lines, or expunging criminal records. There are over 70 to 100 million Americans with criminal records. And what all those companies have in common is that they've done really well despite a very challenging last couple of years. And part of the reason they've done very well is the founders are all underrepresented, and they're solving for things that are critical that don't correlate to traditional market conditions, right? They don't correlate to crypto, they don't correlate to interest rate. Unfortunately, wildfires are only going up, right? So when we back a company that's using artificial intelligence to solve and prevent wildfires, it becomes a hedge for other investments that are made. So for us, it's really about being inclusive. And I don't want to speak too long, but we have a process that also includes community. We have over 1,300 people in the Good Light community, and we're all about just being thoughtful with respect to how we source, evaluate, and support, and really target companies that are solving for things that are critical, and doing so in a real scalable manner. Thanks a lot.
Well, I think that's incredibly exciting, because we're also, for those of you who may be more on the investing side than the philanthropy side, we're talking about alpha, right? We're talking about
Absolutely.
How do you generate return in a moment where everybody, when everybody's going to the same puck, right? Is oftentimes where you can generate a huge amount of value is from seeing things that other people don't.
That's exactly correct.
So I think that's incredibly exciting. We're delighted. Samaji, can you talk a little bit about, as you think about the work that you're doing, how do you see the challenge of scaling, and how do you see the support you give those who are changing their communities through business?
No, thank you so much. I'm the CEO of the Tony Elumelu Foundation. The Tony Elumelu Foundation is Africa's largest philanthropy, empowering young entrepreneurs across all 54 African countries. We started in 2010, and in 2015, we launched the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program, and the impact has been amazing. So in over about just 8 years, we've gone on to fund 18,000 young African men and women, disbursing nearly $100 million directly to these young business owners, directly as seed capital that is non-returnable. So it's a grant of $5,000 each that we expect you to go to the markets and prove yourself. We expect you to develop a concept, hire an additional staff. It's not equity, it's not a loan, it's a one-time grant that we want you to go to the market and show the market that we believe in you. And even though no one else believes in you, we're there to support you. Finally, we understand that entrepreneurship is an incredibly lonely journey. And so we must ensure that entrepreneurs are matched with mentors who have sector experience, who can handhold them, who can guide them, who can counsel them, and really just be a shoulder to lean on as they navigate the extremely challenging journey of entrepreneurship. Our entrepreneurs have gone on to create over 400,000 jobs in only a few years. We've gone on to also train 1.5 million young Africans in business management training, because you can get all the funding in the world, but if you don't have the training and the coaching to guide you, then that funding is futile, right? And then finally, we also do a lot of advocacy work across the continent because entrepreneurs don't, they don't exist in isolation. They don't exist in silos. And so if the policy and regulatory barriers continue to exist, then entrepreneurs would never scale. The good news, before I wrap up, the good news is that a lot of partners across the world have identified the work that we do as the most transformative model to make an impact in Africa. And so our partners include the European Union, the United Nations Development Programme, the Clinton Foundation, a number of partners across the world who have seen that to make the type of impact on the continent, to help to create the jobs that are needed, to drive poverty alleviation, and also to economically empower our young people and our women, the Tony and Mary Foundation is the partner of choice in Africa. So I'm here to advocate for young African entrepreneurs. They deserve our attention, they deserve the spotlight, they deserve the capacity building support, the technical assistance, and I think most importantly, the funding. And so when we think about funding and investing in entrepreneurs, we shouldn't just look to the West, but Africa offers very exciting business opportunities, even more incredible results and return on investment, and it's a decade for the African entrepreneur in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And years ago, I was with a Liberian entrepreneur, this young woman who had come home, and she had started a Jiffy Maids in Monrovia. And she was working with women who had not had the opportunity to be educated. And those women then were funding their boys and their girls to go to school. So this is not about, touchy-feely, fuzzy stuff. This is about everybody who cares about shared prosperity and growth. This is all the work that each one of you are doing every single day, right? And it's not just about words, it's about wallet. So we want everybody to think about that from the investing side. And so thank you. And now I'd like to go to Sam. And Sam, you are doing early stage investing. You're working with entrepreneurs often at their loneliest, right? Things are just starting. It's a PowerPoint and an idea and maybe a couple customers. Tell us about what you're seeing in terms of the challenge of scale and the opportunity of scale.
Sure. So I think to double on what Samachi said, I think we exist because of the incredible pioneering work that organizations like Tony LMLO are doing, and that commercial opportunity is real. So Founders Factory Africa, we are the largest early stage investor on the continent. We have a unique catalytic capital model that we invest equity into ventures alongside our venture studio. So our venture studio provides technical and operational assistance to every venture we invest in. We do not run an accelerator. We are not an incubator. We don't have a curriculum. We recognize that B2B healthcare that's at idea stage in Nigeria needs very different things to overcome their unique challenges than a payments company in South Africa that might be at seed stage, and that trying to solve all those problems in the same way at once via a cohort approach, which many accelerators take on, doesn't really do much good. Yeah. And so our team is 60 plus people who are devoted to providing hands-on support to every venture in our portfolio, because we believe that that kind of hands-on bespoke support is what enables scale, is what enables overcoming those challenges. And so we've been investing since 2018. We have a portfolio of 60 companies across the continent in fintech, healthcare, and ag. We believe in investing in companies that solve challenges that are worth solving at scale. We invest from idea stage all the way through seed, and what we are seeing is those challenges to scale that you were talking about are unique to markets, they are unique to sectors, they are unique to ventures, and as we grow and as our portfolio of ventures grow, we become more equipped to help solve them and solve them at scale. Mm-hmm. We are seeing ventures that are moving from market to market. We are seeing ventures that are moving international because we believe that the best, we are not building Nigerian businesses, we are not supporting, Kenyan businesses, we're supporting African businesses and Pan-African businesses, and the best Pan-African businesses are global businesses, and the best African entrepreneurs are global entrepreneurs, and we believe that deeply, and we're seeing it bear fruit. We are in the process, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we were in the process of raising our second fund. I am required to do that right when I appear, but we just did an announcement about our first close, and we are excited about it because it does bring this blended capital catalytic model where we invest equity in every venture we invest equity in. We are able to provide through some of our partners catalytic capital that is low interest loans from philanthropic partners, extending runway, limiting dilution, and we believe that that catalytic capital is going to have an incredible effect. Our second fund is going to invest in 50% women founders. We are already on track with our first investments. And again, I think it is just to echo what Samachi said, we are deep believers in the innovation coming from the continent, both to solve intractable problems that are worth tackling and to deliver real returns for investors, be they impact investors, corporate investors, or kind of traditional institutional investors.
Well, I'm going to go with the lightning round because we have 1 minute left. And I want to ask you all each, if I can, just a quick couple-word answer, which is, what do you look for when you're deciding what to fund? What is it that stays with you? You all hear endless numbers of folks coming to you and saying, hey, I could use capital for this amazing idea, but there is not a chance in the world you could fund everything. So how do you think about that?
Sure, I think for us at Good Light Capital, it's all about the team. Because at the end of the day, you're backing the person and the teams, and you're going to be working with them hopefully for a very long time. Yeah. So you want to make sure values, these are people that you're backing, supporting their vision, and you want to make sure that in the long run, as they're successful, they're able to do a lot more good in the world. And so, Good Light, we're about good people.
And scaling the light.
Exactly.
Yeah, excellent.
I think we're all about impact. And when I say impact, so we want your business to be profitable, certainly, but we want to see how you're contributing to society behind profit. So in Africa, for instance, the SDGs really draw close, 2030, and we're still lagging very greatly behind. So with each entrepreneur we fund, and now 18,000 of them, we say, how do you contribute to the SDGs? What goals do you directly contribute to? So you're making profit, yes, but then you're helping, create change across climate, gender equity, education, healthcare, etc. We want to see that bottom impact as well.
Excellent. And Sam?
And I will echo, but add on, we think a lot about what does scale look like, and is there a viable path to scale? Scale means very different things in different markets, for different business models. But we think a lot about the levers that will enable scalability and how likely those are, and also I think does the founder really believe that it's something that they can do?
Okay, scale, team, impact, values, and now we have the joy of hearing from our entrepreneurs. So I would like to thank our wonderful judges. We're excited. And we will turn it over to Sunny Khan of Potty Project.
Can you hear me? Okay, put this a little higher. Okay, perfect. Hey everyone, how's everyone today? Excellent, that's great to hear. All right, my name is Sunny. I am the founder of Bonnie Project. It's a 501c3 nonprofit that was started in 2017. We have this ambitious goal that I'm very excited to share with you. Yeah, let's dive right into it. So, perfect, it's working. So Bonnie Project is not only a charity that provides clean water and access for women and children across Pakistan, we're also a movement. We started in 2017 at the University of Michigan. We had this really ambitious goal that we wanted to provide clean water to everybody in the world. And this was my sophomore year of college. I was very ambitious because, when you're in college, you're like, okay, shoot for the stars. If you fall, you land on the clouds. You'll see what happens. And so we're like, okay, we want to help out women and children in Pakistan because that's where our families were from. We wanted to use our platform, the privileges that we had as university of students, to do something a little bit bigger. And we wanted to do something in a way that had two values: transparency and accountability. So to give you a little bit of context about Pakistan, it's a country with a lot of issues, and a lot of the issues root from water access. It's facing a severe water crisis that affects millions of people. It threatens the region's stability. The World Health Organization predicts that by 2025, most of the country will run out of clean water. And this is a humanitarian crisis that adversely affects rural women and children in the most hardship-felt communities over there. So when we were students at the University of Michigan, we started very, very grassroots. We found organizations that were tasked with working in Pakistan, and we reached out to them and were like, hey, how do we build a water well? A water well is $2,000. Let's sell donuts on campus and see what we can do. That's exactly what we did for our first year. We ended up raising $600, and we found somebody that donated $500, and we ended up building a water well with the charity for $1,100. And we were super excited, and we're like, hey, this is cool. And then we got back one photo. And that was very discouraging because we didn't know if that was our water well. We didn't know if somebody else just put a plaque on there and said that it was ours. So we felt like in the process of trying to solve a wider issue with water access, we discovered a problem that we felt like we could really tackle head on using technology, using our energy, and using persistence. And so we came up with this unique and transparent approach to impact that involved local communities and focused entirely on involving the donor from start to finish. So what we do that's different from most organizations is that we partner with organizations that are directly on the ground, and we make sure that in the process, donors are communicated about the entire journey. Meaning, like, say, I don't know, a generous organization like the Clinton Foundation donated a water well. Within 90 days, they would see photos and videos of the entire process from start to finish. They'd see women and children drinking from it. They'd see the relief, and they'd see the happiness in the community's eyes. And this was a model that we really expected to keep local, but the way that we had everything structured, where we would send Google Drives of photos, where people could see their name, they could see their family's name, they could see their grandfather's name on these water wells, it inspired people to want to, be a part of this cause. We had universities reach out to us. We had other folks start sharing it on WhatsApp, and we started building this global community of folks that wanted to be involved. And so, our first year, like I said, we raised about $1,100. Second year, $30,000. Then we went to $250,000, and then we went to $2 million, and now this year again we're planning to cross $2.5 million. And this has impacted over 1 million folks. We've built over 15,000 water wells, RO plants, solar water centers, and we've expanded into other initiatives. We recently built a school, and throughout this entire process, we've maintained $0 in overhead, which is crazy, and one of the things that I'll get to. So why us, and why should you invest in us, or why should you listen or try to be a part of our journey? I think the main reason why is because we're not just an organization that's now centered on Pakistan. We want to expand our model, this transparency, this focus on investing into communities, into other regions and other initiatives. Recently, we've built homes in rural Pakistan. Like I mentioned, we launched a school. When the floods that were a result of climate change happened last year, we were on the ground and raised over $1 million to support folks. And so we have a proven record of transparency in delivering results, in delivering clear impact. I have a Google Drive that literally has every single photo of every single water well, and it's like 4 terabytes, and so it's huge, and I'm excited to share if people want to learn more. But yeah, I mean, my values are compassion, collaboration, accountability, and excellence. And the reason I share these with you is because I'd love for one of the generous folks here to help contribute in our journey. So as of right now, our organization's operation model is the thing that we need the most help with. Right now, we're powered by myself and one of my co-founders and the power of friendship, which, that's great, but it can only take you so far. What we're envisioning is that we can build out a full-scale team in rural Pakistan of folks that can help contribute to our growth, meaning we can make it so it's a lot more folks that are engaged, involved in emails, involved in campaigning, involving in our SEO growth. We can develop a CRM system that's leveraging large language models in less fancier terms. Basically, we want to make it so we have a more easy way to communicate with our donors and our contributors, and we're building a system that we can then replicate to other countries. Because at the moment, we're only invested in Pakistan, and we want to take this model that's given over 1 million people access to clean water and deliver it across to other regions. So myself, my co-founders, we personally believe that if we're able to take this model and we're able to find some generous folks that care about this cause as much as we do, we can have just as big as an impact in Pakistan that we can in every other part of the world. And so, yeah, thank you everybody for your time. I'll be sitting over there if you have any questions, but looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sunny. And you were the first to go, which is always the icebreaker. So thank you so much. Now I'd like to introduce Danielle de la Fuente.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Danielle de la Fuente, founder and CEO of Amal Alliance. Imagine you are forced to flee your home, leaving everything you've ever known behind. And this happened to you when you're 6 years old. Well, this is what's occurring to 43 million children that have been forcibly displaced worldwide. It's the equivalent to 60% of the US's children. Most of the kids will be displaced their entire childhood, the most formative developmental years. The most formative developmental years. But, oh, I'm so sorry. 1 second. The most formative, can I do a restart? I'm sorry, I had notes and I thought there, 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Now, they're going to be displaced the most formative developmental years. And the growing number of conflicts and natural disasters are only creating immeasurable mental health and economic consequences. Our current education systems neglect crucial aspects of student and teacher well-being, of inclusivity, and the foundations for peace and acceptance. Now, failing to address the crucial needs of mental health of children affected by crisis comes at a very steep cost. Specifically, $203 billion of loss of potential lifetime earnings. But the cost of inaction will also bring huge unemployment, potential health issues, but also violence, crime, and social services that will cost in the economy. To address these needs, Amal Alliance has been building bright futures for refugee children since 2016. When the pandemic hit, we were forced to pivot and flirt with the realm of technology, which led to winning the UN COVID-19 challenge, bringing to life Colors of Kindness. Colors of Kindness is a multi-award-winning program that fosters social and emotional competencies of displaced and disenfranchised children. It's designed for education in emergencies. We equip teachers with the important tools so that they can empower children to have the life skills they need so that they can overcome extreme adversity. Now you must be wondering, what makes Colors of Kindness so unique? Well, first of all, it's socially inclusive and it's adaptable and it requires minimal resources, which makes it accessible to different audiences and different contexts. But the secret sauce is our methodology. We use everything from kids yoga, mindfulness, dance, play, art therapy, and we've packed it in to trauma-informed audio and visual lessons that improve academic achievement. It's super easy to implement, even if you don't have an advanced degree. And it positions us to provide livelihoods for individuals that are trained to implement our classes. Unlike one-off programs, we foster a long-term sustainability approach. We're planting foundations in every place we touch by planting seeds of emotional intelligence. And what's best? It's backed by science. The Harvard EASA lab studied our program and concluded that there was statistically significant increase in the social and emotional skills of the kids. Since 2020, and with support of Porticus and the Lego Foundation, we've been able to pilot Colors of Kindness in Bangladesh, Uganda, and Greece. The program showed versatility across cultures and scalability, so much so that the Greek government expanded it to all the schools nationwide. So in only 3 years, we went from 143 kids to 290,000 children that have been impacted by our classes worldwide. And our content has been used in 175 countries. With the support of MIT Solve, we've created a roadmap so motivated countries can replicate our model. Now, if we replicate this model, we can easily reach 9 million children over the course of 10 years at scale. This is a fast-moving train, but we really don't want to ride it alone. We're seeking strategic partners, donors from public and private sectors, and visionaries like yourselves to join us on our journey. Crisis will continue, and we really can't afford to ignore the costs of mental health and economic issues that we'll pursue. But most importantly, every child deserves a champion, someone who's not going to give up on them, who understands the power of human connection and resilience. And I really hope that one of you will be a champion for them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Daniel. You did an amazing job. Sunny and Danielle, thank you so much. So far, we're two in, and they've been amazing. And now we're going to have Kunjpreet Arora join us on the stage. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Kunjpreet Arora and I'm the co-founder at Angiras INT Private Limited. I come from a very beautiful city which is called Udaipur with lakes, mountains and greenery all around. But it has another picture of waste lying on these lakes between the mountains, burning in the environment and destroying its beauty. On the other side, increasing populations leads to increased demand for living and building materials. While most of us don't know that the commonly used building material, which is brick, contribute up to 20% of the carbon emission worldwide. And it has another challenge is it's totally dependent upon natural resources. In India, it consumes 350 million tons of fertile soil, 50 million tons of coal, and million tons of water every year. But what commonly can be seen is the child exploitation, labor exploitation, and the GST emission leading to lungs and heart diseases every year. Introducing bricks, a machine manufactured brick which is made 100% from the recycled waste material. We use single-use plastic waste and industrial waste with our green patent pending technology which is sustainable, in-house, cost and energy efficient. Our technology takes just 1 day of manufacturing comparative to the conventional system which require 5 to 7 days in processing and requires half of the labor working under the polluted brick kilns and just 80% land required for the operations. Comparing to the conventional brick kilns, our brick is 40% damp proof, solving the problem of efflorescence, water leakage, dampness. It is 30% more durable and stronger and weighs 20% lighter in weight, reducing its overall construction cost by up to 20%. And these are being tested and proven by regulators, government authorities, and through various field trials. We source the raw material from the organized waste management companies and recyclers. It is brought to our facility and engineered into final and finished goods. Each commercial plant, we sell 1,000 bricks around $144 with 30 to 40% gross margin. And to scale up, we are looking at opening decentralized model to create micro entrepreneurs and increasing livelihood and employment. We charge $1,200 of one-time franchisee cost and follow on 10% royalty cost on the revenue. We are targeting the green building market, which is worth around $477 billion as per the World Green Building Council. Our target market is India's top tier cities, which is around $7.5 billion. And as per WBC, it is going to be around $951 billion by 2030, growing at a CAGR of 12%. Currently at pilot stage, we have our pilot plant which delivers 500 bricks per day, generating a monthly revenue of $1,500. And to jump from pilot to commercial, we are looking at $500,000 of seed investment to open 2 to 3 commercial plants with our local partners. This will generate monthly revenue of around $30,000. Last financial year, we were reported to reduce the waste material by 40 tons and reduce the carbon emission by 253 ton analyzed by the Climate Collective Foundation, and we are looking to take this impact by 100x in next 4 to 5 years. These are some of the recognition. We have been recognized by global foundations like World Economic Forum, Thai University Global, Switch Asia, Habitat for Humanity, and a lot more. At last, I would say that we are on a mission of improving the world brick by brick and look forward for your support. Thank you so much for listening me.
So this has been a shot of energy on your morning. So we've had Sunny, Danielle, and Kunchpreet. Thank you so much. And now we're going to have Adar come up and talk with us. Adar Balinga. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Adar Bhalinge, co-founder of Audivision. Globally, there are 36 million blind and 253 million have severe vision impairment. Only 29% are a part of education system and 70% are unemployed. Unemployment due to vision loss leads to a huge global economic impact. That is a GDP loss of $410 billion annually. Vision loss and poverty are both a cause and consequence of each other, creating a vicious cycle. Assistive technologies like mobile apps, smart glasses can help reduce this impact. But the question is, are these solutions accessible for all? Unfortunately, no, because 90% of the community belongs to the low-income group of Asia and Africa. They cannot afford these solutions. The solutions require internet, which is again unaffordable or unavailable at remote locations. And finally, they lack native language support. The second big problem is that a community of 15 million deafblind are totally excluded by these solutions because they provide output only in audio format, which the users cannot listen to. And finally, students choose their career based on the availability of the digital or braille books rather than their aspirations and talent, and this hinders their educational growth. I have high myopia since childhood with a -10 power. Hence, it was not difficult to understand these challenges. And to address those, we have built Audivision. It is an AI-based tool which helps and empower the visually impaired community to become self-reliant and enable digital learning, which will lead to employment and economic growth. Based on extensive user feedback, we have created multiple innovative features like for self-reliance. For example, finding a particular product, knowing its expiration date, what are its contents. For safe travel, we also help the users to understand if the street is well lit and crowded enough or not, and more. Our patent-pending companion reader device, along with the mobile app, makes book reading an easy experience. It does not require internet, nor does, and the cost of it is 1/4 that of the market, and it does not require PC or laptop support as well, giving students the freedom to choose their career as per their aspirations. Let's have a look at the demo.
Search for the biscuits, Monaco.
Searching for Monaco.
Now we are going through various sets of biscuits.
Hey guys, it's Sam with The Blind Life. Just see how fast it is.
Grenade, just the way you are. R for blue.
Test the expiration date.
Expiry date seems to be August 24th, 02.
I'm really impressed. Fantastic start.
Mobile phone is mounted to our companion device, which has a base pad for aligning the document. User taps on the screen and the app will read it for the user.
Concept and inception.
What sets us apart is that we are the first app to provide an accessible deaf-blind interface through Braille keyboard. Our competitors are missing on these innovative features, and none of them offer the companion reader device. Our basic app is free to download, does not require internet, and we generate revenue from ads and subscriptions, and for the reader device from the CSR and the native sales. We have won various innovation challenges and awards and are recognized by Perkins School, American Foundation for Blind, and others. Our social impact is that we have empowered more than 15,000 lives across multiple countries. More than 100,000 documents are being made digitally accessible. We have built various community partnerships across India and US. And to grow, we need to expand our user base and partnerships across the globe and increase our revenue through iOS market. We plan to scale by raising funds for developing our iOS platform, expand the team, and build strategic partnerships with blind schools to set up digital classrooms. Startup was launched last year, and the core founding members have diverse expertise. I have 15+ years of experience in software domain, and earlier was working as vice president at Morgan Stanley. Rajan B is he's a co-founder and expert in the electronics, and Dr. Pranali helps us connect with the ophthalmologist network and visually impaired patients. Join us in our journey to build an accessible world with an inclusive economy. Thank you very much.
So I want to take just a moment to salute our entrepreneurs. It's not easy to get up here, especially when you've poured your heart, soul, and guts into startups that are really your dream, your vision, and your view of where the world should go. So I want to thank Adar, Daniel, Kunshpreet, and Sunny. Thank you so much. And now I want to actually 30 seconds introducing someone who has really made entrepreneurship her life and who has powered growth and seen the vision for what it could be to really make change makers have the capital, the resources, the skills, and the networks they need to achieve impact at scale. Jacqueline Novaras, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad to see you. So happy. Thank you. I'm so happy to see you.
Thanks, Gail. It's really a privilege to be with you, to be with three incredible judges, Samachi, Jacques, Philippe, and Sam, to be with all of you, and especially you, the entrepreneurs. We invest in the countries in which you operate. We know how hard the work is, and I also personally believe that you are the true superheroes that the world needs today, because these issues that you are taking on are so big, and yet you dare to do it anyway. And so just my hat is off to you. And just a little shout out to Gurashish Sani of Recircle and Sanjay Gupta of Chetna, who are part of Acumen's big constellation. It's big. We've been actually investing across the capital spectrum for 22 years now, from very early stage, including angel, through what we call patient capital, philanthropic-backed, early stage, 10 to 15-year capital, to impact funds. And I want to talk a little bit about it. And we've seen how these intrepid, scrappy entrepreneurs can build inclusive companies that over time impact not just millions or tens of millions, but even hundreds of millions. And we know how long and challenging the journey is. However, after nearly a quarter century of doing this work together, we're more convinced than ever that entrepreneurs with the right character, capital, and community are key to solving our biggest problems. We've invested in about 160 companies, and together those companies have conservatively brought critical goods and services like water, healthcare, education, agriculture, energy to over 500 million low-income people. We've also had a front row seat to how climate disproportionately impacts the poor and how capital is most expensive to those who can least afford it. However, despite how challenging these are, I just really urge you to hold on to these big dreams as you take what might sometimes on bad days feel like very small steps. 13 years ago, we invested in two guys, Dave Ellis and Joe Shields, who had a dream to fully transform the Ethiopian chicken industry. One of the founders, Dave, had never held a live chicken in his life, but nonetheless, had the audacity to try. And it took them about 4 years of many failures before Acumen became its first institutional investor. Now, in the beginning, we invested the philanthropic-based patient capital because we weren't really convinced yet about the business model. And it was 6 or 7 years later, when we were convinced, then Acumen's Resilient Agriculture Fund was able to lead a round with much larger amounts of capital to actually take them to scale and move them from Ethiopia ultimately to 10 African countries. Right now they're operating in Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ghana. Now you might ask how chickens are connected to resilience and adaptation. But if you're a smallholder farmer, it makes a lot of sense. Chickens are an affordable investment. They're not that difficult to raise. And you get protein eggs for your children. So as I said, it's been 13 years. But that company today will employ, well, does employ 2,000 people directly, 16,000 agents, many of whom are making more than $10,000 a year, who essentially buy 50 million day-old chicks that they sell in small batches to millions of smallholder farmers, who collectively this year will sell 5 billion eggs. Two guys with a dream. Income, protein, the dignity of choice. That's how one company can contribute to building a greener, more inclusive economy. We've learned so much from companies like Ethio Chicken, and this is behind our own CGI commitment to action. Acumen's now building a facility called Trellis, and it's early days, but we're raising a $30 million, again, patient capital fund backed by philanthropy so that we can continue to take early stage risks in those entrepreneurs who are building farmer-centered companies, because we know what's possible. And they will be doing the work across East West Africa, India, and Latin America. And our goal is to impact 2 million farmers, which again, I think is really conservative, but we wanted to meet the goal. So what advice would I offer you all in addition to the very good advice of focusing on scale and team and impact? 3 pieces. Number 1, it sounds trite almost, but integrity is so essential. I have seen too many good people and amazing companies fail because of cut corners. And I know how hard it is to see others succeed when they do, and you're doing all the right things, not the easy things, and feeling like you're not succeeding. Don't give in to the pressure, because even petty corruption, petty bribes become like a virus, and it's always the poor who lose. But I'm not only talking about integrity when I talk about character, which is so important. I am talking about determination and grit. It's not the smartest ones necessarily that make the most change. It's the ones who stay in the game. And so if there's one quality we look for at Acumen, it is that determination. And I would say, in terms of character, you also owe it to yourselves and your companies to demand that same level of character from your investors. We also have seen too many impact investors and other investors push their early stage companies to scale and go faster and faster without even fully understanding their unit profitability, and it is a recipe for failure, particularly when there are downturns. So hold them to account, even though I know you need the money. It's hard. It's hard. And find investors who will accompany you, not only with their financial capital, but also with their social capital, their access to networks, to grants, their ability to storytell with and for you. That also really matters. Second, if you rule out failure, you rule out success. I failed so many times, I can't even count by this time, and yet it is truly where you learn the most. We've also seen a lot of entrepreneurs at different stages in their growth get paralyzed from fear of failure, and often in cultures where there's a sense that if I fail more than once, people will think I'm cursed. The only way you succeed is to fail. And indeed, the other thing we look at when we assess an entrepreneur not only is tell us how many times you failed, but more importantly, what have you learned from those failures? And finally, keep the faith. So a week ago, my 25-year-old niece, Bellamy, sent me a photograph. She had just gotten off the plane on her honeymoon in Rwanda, and they went directly to a little microfinance bank, which is now big, called Duterambere, which I started when I was 25 years old, way back when. And it was extraordinary to see it and to think about who I was then, and to imagine myself with my co-founders, the Rwandan women who dared when women really had no place whatsoever in the economy. And we used to dream that their daughters would have more access to credit and goods and services, and that maybe one day their grandchildren, both boys and girls, would not only live in a more inclusive economy, but be part of driving the economy. And those women aren't all here. We went through a genocide. Some were killed, one is in prison, and yet the work continued. And so when I hear your stories and the amazing work you all are doing, I can't help but, number one, think of you standing on their shoulders. People like Jan Piercy and people that were doing this work 30, 40, 50 years ago. And to know that just like they might not be able to imagine the cool and amazing things that you are doing, neither will you be able to see what young entrepreneurs 35 years from now will be building. So keep the faith, believe, and know that you are surrounded by a tribe of fellow journeyers who are cheering you on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. We really are today talking about manufacturing hope and opportunity. That is what all of these folks are doing. And with that, I want to welcome Jonathan back to the stage.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Fife. I'm a co-founder and the CEO of Bright Feeds, a business that converts food waste into animal feed. Food waste is an enormous economic, social, and environmental problem. About 1/3 of the world's food is wasted at an economic cost of over $1 trillion. Food waste contributes to over 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions, so you can't solve climate change without addressing food waste. And if global food were recycled, the grain liberated would feed 3 billion people. So it's an enormously important area to tackle. When you think about what to do with the massive amount of food waste that exists, the EPA first recommends preventing food waste in the first place. Second, donating to hungry people. And then third, feeding animals. However, very little food waste today is diverted to feed animals, and so our mission at Bright Feeds is to really grow that category out and divert food waste to animal feed at scale. Bright Feeds opened its first facility last October in Berlin, Connecticut. It's right near Hartford. We're permitted to process over 450 tons a day. It's a full manufacturing facility. It's just that at our facility, our raw ingredients aren't pure commodities, they're food waste. And so we accept food waste from all over New England right now. And despite being open for less than a year, we're already converting over 100 tons a day at our facility in Connecticut to animal feed. Our process has two key areas of technology that we employ in order to do this. The first is our blending system, where we have sensors throughout our facility that measure the nutrient composition of the food waste that comes into our facility. So when we sell our animal feed to large feed mills in the area, one of the largest agricultural companies in the world, we have to know exactly what we're selling them and have specific nutrient guarantees. So we have sensors that measure all the food waste that comes in. We have algorithms that divert the food waste to different areas of our facility so we can control our final blends. And then we distribute in bulk to feed mills. Secondly, food waste is wet, and in order for our animal feed to be shelf stable and for us to be able to ship it all over the country, we have to ship it dry. And so we use cutting edge drying technology that we license from the largest drying institute in the country in order to do that and dry at lower cost and using less energy than with traditional dryers. In order for us to really scale, we think that aside from having technology and reducing carbon emissions, it's really important to be economical, that we have to save our customers money to scale. And so firstly, our animal feed, because of the technology and we're consistent, we can charge real market prices that are tied to the nutrient value of what we produce. We sell our product about a 20% discount to the nutrient value of corn and soy, which equates to about $200 for every ton that we sell. And so because of that, we need to charge our food customers virtually nothing to receive food waste. All of our revenue is driven by the animal feed we sell and not for taking in waste. And historically, for food businesses, getting rid of their waste has been a pretty large cost. And secondly, that 20% discount to large feed mills makes its way to the local farms. And so at a time of high inflation and high feed costs, it's very impactful to save 20% on their feed costs. And then on the environmental side, for every 1 ton of food waste that we receive, we're preventing 1 ton of carbon emissions. The way we do that, our process is carbon negative. So first, when we, through life cycle studies, looked at the amount of energy that we generate to produce 1 ton of animal feed, it's less than producing 1 ton of corn and soy today. So before even getting into the fact that we're preventing food waste from rotting and decomposing in landfills, it's already a carbon negative process. And then obviously the largest savings is preventing the valuable food from ending up in landfills and incinerators that have a very high economic cost. So our goal moving forward is to really scale our company. After less than a year, we're already processing over 100 tons of food waste. That's equating to about 75 tons of animal feed every day at our facility in Connecticut. We're now laying the groundwork or engineering plans for our second facility, which is going to open nearby. And we want to open 1 to 2 facilities each year thereafter. And so again, each facility is permitted to process 450 tons a day. So it can really solve this food waste crisis at scale. And if you're a policymaker who could help us expand into a nearby state or even country, a food manufacturer that we can partner with, or an investor who can help us scale, we'd love to meet you and work with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. I hope all the investors in the room were listening. And I now want to welcome to the stage Byron Dye.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Byron. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Divergent, and I'd like to use my talk today to discuss the 90% global disability unemployment rate and the model that we've created to address that. And I want to begin with a quote. Disability is not the problem. Accessibility is the problem. In country after country, when we look at disability, we see the same patterns. A person with disability is half as likely to finish primary school. Only 2% of disability research funding goes towards adulthood issues like employment. And you are 50% more likely to live in an impoverished household. Now, these are not hypothetical issues for me because I am known as a SID. I have a 24-year-old brother with autism and intellectual disability. And even though he lives in the United States, he still is part of the 85% of Americans with autism who are unemployed. The problem of disability is a problem of accessibility. And that means that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Right now, when we think about this, we see that states and governments really only have one tool at their disposal when it comes to being able to provide accessible training. And that means hiring more people by spending more money. The challenge there is that it's not sustainable. The WHO has shown that the global disability prevalence rate has increased by 50% since the 1970s, which means that we're looking at, over the past 50 years, a level of growth that has not met up with demand or supply. In fact, 83% of disability providers are not accepting new referrals. That means that if you are a person with disability today, you are relegated to unskilled jobs in the 4 Fs. That's food, flowers, filing, and filth. These are not 21st century jobs, and we said enough is enough. Divergent created the first all virtual and accessible model for delivering job training to the disability community. And this model is what we call pilot. It involves 4 steps. Step 1, work with local employers to create training programs around their open roles. Number 2, develop private-public partnerships that allow for the creation of technology lending libraries, which means providing laptops and hotspots at no charge. Number 3, be able to have trainings that are dedicated towards people with disabilities on how to receive virtual services. And number 4, provide a tailored curriculum using our AI that is accommodating to their needs. I want to show one quick story about a participant who's gone through our program and has seen favorable outcomes, and just share his story with y'all. If we could just share that real quick.
As a participant in the pilot program, what was it like learning new skills, virtually over the computer?
It was it was pretty good as far as I'm concerned. A lot of stuff that I needed to study and a lot of stuff that I needed to pay attention to. But I had a great teacher to help me out with it, and it took a little bit of studying, but I realized once I was able to get it down, and once I was able to figure out, hey, what am I supposed to do? I was able to figure out really quickly what I was able to do.
And Joseph, you had a one-to-one training coach, right?
Yes, sir. Her name was Jenny. Her name was Jenny Nunez.
And how did that go for you, having a training coach that worked with you over the computer?
Really helpful. It really meant a lot for me to get to have her, and I was really blessed to have a coach help me out. Really.
And it worked for you to do it over the computer, yeah?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Joseph is one of 600 participants who have gone through our programs and hit a favorable outcome. And so what we did is we provided a coach that was sourced from the top 2% of special education teachers globally and gave him a tailored curriculum that was specific to what he needed as his accommodations. He didn't have to go into a facility or use a wheelchair or have to transport in order to receive that training. 2 US states have approved us for insurance. We're the first company ever who has had that approval. And we're in talks with the nation of the Philippines to bring this into their geography as well. For them, it's dollars and cents. Governments see this as a way to get cost-efficient support staff into their geographies at a time when other providers are shutting down. And so I'd love to just end with this note. We're trying to expand nationally in the US as well as globally. We're going to be in 10 more US states over the next 12 months under the vocational rehabilitation and Medicaid systems. And we're looking to grow and find 2 more country partners that we can work with to get our programs in as demonstration projects. So I'll end with one ask. If you're a future of work investor or you are a policymaker or know someone who's in policy focused on workforce development, please find me after the session. My name is Byron. This is Divergent. Thank you for being a champion for the disability community.
We started today's conversation by talking about expanding the investable universe and really seeing that growth is possible when you think about new markets and people that we can serve and include to create growth for all. So this is just incredibly exciting. And now I would like to welcome Sanjay Gupta to the stage.
Good afternoon. English Helper is an impact-first company. We leverage AI technology to enable foundational literacy for millions from a young age. We began our work in India. India has the largest K-12 school network with over 250 million students enrolled. But India has a serious reading problem. Only 1 out of 5 grade 3 students can read grade 2 text. And the problem compounds itself as students go into higher grades. A few key principles underscore our work. Firstly, our Read2Me, our multisensory reading and comprehension AI platform's design is informed by proven learning science. We launched Read2Me in 2013 in 100 schools. We expanded in partnership with USAID the footprint of the program to 5,000 schools, reaching 1 million students. And it's only after that we began pushing for scale. Our second principle is that teachers are critical for success. They must find the solution easy, and they must welcome the intervention. We enable teachers to teach their prescribed school textbooks during normal class hours to achieve their syllabus goals. Finally, we're committed to ensuring our solution is economical and affordable. Price cannot be the conversation. And we also ensure that existing infrastructure is utilized and optimized. We're getting close to 1 million classrooms, and the journey has taught us a lot. Our technology has improved. We're expanding to new languages, and our processes have transformed. We're now across the length and the breadth of India. We're implementing in all 10,000 schools of Sri Lanka. We have proven pilots in Mongolia, Sierra Leone, Honduras, Guatemala, Peru, and we've begun some early work here in the US too. More than 100,000 tests have been conducted, mainly by independent agencies. And the tests validate that students who undertake our program over one academic year gain by more than 40% as compared to students outside the program. We've been at this for a decade, and we've reached 150,000 schools. Should we continue at the same pace and velocity? Very recently, a government in the eastern region of India awarded us a contract for 4,000 schools. This was because we had demonstrated significant reading ability improvement for a cohort of grade 9 students. That contract is great endorsement. It's also important for us because though our bill is small, these contracts help pay our expenses. But the bigger question is, that state has 55,000 schools with 6 million students. And if we rely simply on the government process, it'll take another decade for us to get to every child in every classroom. Yet another generation will be lost. Our challenge now is to attract stakeholders to join us in this journey to help bridge the gap before it's too late for just too many. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. And now I would like to welcome Cecilia Foxworthy from Agora Partnerships, who's going to talk with us about the commitment to action today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Buen día con todos y todas. My name is Cecilia Foxworthy. I'm the CEO of Agora Partnerships. So Latin America is one of the most gender unequal and disaster-prone regions in the world, but it's also one of the most resilient, biodiverse, and entrepreneurial. Across Latin America, a significant amount of small and medium businesses, the motors of the economy, are led by women. Women-led businesses, as we've heard here today, benefit society in many ways, from family stability and improved health to better education, gender equality, community safety, and inclusive economic growth, which is, after all, why we are all here today. These businesses, however, struggle to adapt to digital technologies, face stagnating productivity growth, limited networks, difficulty accessing capital, and heightened vulnerabilities to climate-related disasters. The consequences of these challenges are, of course, stark. Many businesses are obligated to close their doors, and that plunges many, many more women into a poverty situation. That's why women-led enterprises are at the core of We Count, or Juntos Contamos, an initiative Agora Partnerships and the IDB Lab have created to support women-led enterprises across Latin America. We Count offers capacity building, access to markets, and access to finance via our private sector partners. We are currently executing this program in Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. Our CGI commitment is to expand our We Count program to Bolivia, Peru, and Colombia to boost the sustainability and productivity of 3,000 women-led enterprises in the next 3 years. Our goal is to reverse gender economic disparities and champion an economic system that truly supports women-led enterprises to capitalize on their data, shift the power imbalances with the commercial and financial sectors, and use their collective action to create sustainable and environmentally respectful value chains across Latin America. We're actively engaging in conversations with donors, foundations, corporations, and development agencies, all interested in gender economic equality in the Andes. Join us in our goal to elevate women-led enterprises in the region. Thank you very much.
Okay, no getting tired. We've all been here for a little bit over an hour, and it's been one of the most energizing sets of talks and pitches I've ever heard. So I want now to welcome Lori to the stage, and our last two, and most excitedly, there are people who are going to help us close out an incredible morning to talk with us about your business. Thank you, Lori.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lori Shao, and I am the CEO and founder of Finly. We are a certified B Corp on a mission to level the playing field for small and micro businesses. But may I start with a song? Yes? Okay, I'm going for it. Opalaka Hialeah is the place to be. Every time you come, you buy something new. Opalaka Hialeah. Thank you. Oh, yes, really. So that was the first song I learned in English. And what you see here, this aisle was my childhood playground. I was extremely, extremely privileged to grow up in a blue-collar entrepreneur household, witnessing my parents being the best small business owners I know. They were so resourceful, making something out of nothing. They navigated all these challenges with grace and grit. I admire them to the core. Yet they were struggling. They were struggling to get paid. They were struggling to run their business effectively. They were struggling to communicate with their customers. They were struggling with operational inefficiencies, and they struggled to have access to various resources that could take their business to the next level. And you fast forward to 30 years later, not much has changed for those who look like my parents. And in the US today, there are over 30 million small businesses struggling with the very similar things and obstacles, and over 50 million solopreneurs and micro businesses. What do they have in their toolbox to help them succeed? And that is why I built Finly, an all-in-one digital back office to support who I consider the small but mighty. So with our digital back office, we're being perceived as kind of a digital cloud FTE team to support these businesses that have historically been under-supported and lacking in resources. And our toolbox includes CRM to help them manage their customer base, right? Migrate from paper to digital, help them with invoicing needs, help them to get paid, with QR code, with invoices, subscriptions, and so forth, help them manage their inventory, capture all of the quantities on hand and set up reorder triggers. Everything is talking to each other behind the scenes, so they don't have to cobble together various tools in a very clunky way and maybe provide a tech-ish experience for their customer base, but behind the scenes only adding to the administrative burden, weighing them down, prohibiting them from reaching new heights. And that is the reason why we exist. And so if they have Finly in their back pocket, they can do so much more with very little resources. Small businesses, whether they are a solopreneur doing basket weaving in their garage, tutoring a different language as a side hustle, running a landscaping business with 300 technicians on the field, a manufacturer that is very, operating in a legacy age, but looking to embrace technology, they can all benefit from Finly by logging onto finly.com and create an account in just a few minutes. We also work with cities, municipalities, nonprofits, bank and non-bank financial institutions with our embedded technology. Everything we presented here, everything that a small business owner has access to directly at finly.com, they can receive in a white label embedded form within their native environment. Because together, we can support businesses in a new way, in a more innovative way. For partners to use Finly, they're allowing us to help them become the most powerful champion in their business community. And so if you want to learn more about our solutions, if you want to help amplify our story in your community, please visit our website, finley.com. If you are a part of an organization that supports small businesses, please reach out to me directly, Lori at finley.com. And Finley stands for Financial Lift, so it's easy to remember there. And I do believe that small businesses, they're the backbone of our economy. So by supporting small businesses, we're strengthening our economy. We're making the world a better place for ourselves, our loved ones, and for those who look like us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lori. And now I would like to introduce the entrepreneur who's going to bring us home and close us out today, Garash Sani.
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Not the easiest going in the end, right? But let's do a little bit of an activity first. Can we just wave our hands? Tap our feet. Now, just let's be ready to get blown away, right? So, I want to start with introducing you to Bijla Tai. Born in extreme poverty, in the heart of India's wealthiest financial capital, Mumbai. She's responsible for a family of 5. Responsible for a family of 5, she's struggling to make her ends meet as an informal waste worker in an unregulated industry. 3 meals a day is a luxury. Sending her kids to school is her utmost priority. However, while going through this, she's working in unhygienic and unsafe conditions with no job security or fair wages. Isn't it unfair that the people that clean up our mess are going through such situations? Why should they do it? But this is not just the story of Bijla. It's the story of 4 million waste pickers or waste collectors that work in India. In this shadow supply chain, scavenging through tons and tons of waste every single day. Waste that is constant and never ending. With this aim to improve the lives of millions of waste workers working in India, we launched Recircle in 2016 with the simple goal of enabling resource recovery. We've transformed into a B2B clean tech supply chain company that helps businesses to stop plastic pollution and meet their sustainability development goals. With our help, businesses can offset their plastic footprint or invest and introduce ethically recycled plastics back into their supply chain. Our proprietary traceability platform, Clima1, enables businesses to track this entire supply chain. We bridge all 3 of the important stakeholders, that's collection partners, waste processors, and businesses. Businesses can purchase ethical and traceable material from here. Collection partners are rewarded by the sale of plastic credits, and waste processors get a better value for their granules. Over the past 7 years, similar to Bijla Tai, we've embarked on a transformative journey. Working with 400 plus partners in 270 cities, we've been able to collect over 100,000 metric tons of waste. With the help of 3,100 plus workers that we impact directly. An independent study that was done on us showed that there was a 72% increase in incomes for the waste collectors that were working with us. But that's not just the change that we're delivering. We're revolutionizing their working conditions, providing them with essential insurance coverages, ensuring that they are aligned to policies in terms of government policies for them. And this is what helps us keep pushing forward. Our journey, however, what we've achieved, undeniably impactful, but we still realize that this is not the end of it. In fact, it is just a drop in the ocean. And that is what keeps us going forward. 3,100 out of 4 million, I would say, is nothing. But this is something that helps us to wake up each day and move forward. Our commitment to effecting meaningful change drives us to prioritize investments in initiatives that provide structure and support for our informal waste workers. We've diligently worked towards establishing an inclusive and organized employment environment, for our dedicated Safai Sathis, guided by fair trade principles and a commitment to equitable fair wage overall. The journey has led us to go deep down into it. We worked with the Safai Sathis to understand what do they really need. Dignity of work was one of the basic things that came out. That's where we first started introducing social security schemes such as Aadhaar cards and e-Shram cards for all waste collectors that work with us. Insurances were made mandatory for people that were working with us. Every 6 months, our entire team goes through healthcare checkups. An astonishing fact that we saw was all our Safai Sathis were one of the first people to take the vaccines. This was the belief that we could inculcate. For the 3,100 Safai Sathis, all it took was for me to go and say, I will be the first person to take the vaccine. And that's when everybody else followed. So it's belief mainly that works with the waste collectors here. Going forward, with our vision of ethical circularity, our commitment is to digitize this waste supply chain further. The transformation will result in a cutting-edge traceability dashboard for our collaborative brands to showcase to their consumers. We're introducing an innovative line of ethically sourced recycled plastic with QR codes on the back of the packaging. Simply, we could pick up a bottle of, say, Head & Shoulders next time with a QR code on the back. As soon as we scan the QR code, we see the journey of the plastic as well as the story of the waste collector that has picked it up. We aim to diversify into other supply chains such as textiles, metals, glass, etc. with this same traceability platform. We plan to scale up the sale of these ethically recycled plastic granules and credits in international markets, catalyzing a global shift towards sustainability. So finally, it's I would request businesses and brand owners to join us to take part in the plastic neutrality program with us and to show interest in the plastic granules. Donors to be able to contribute to formalization of waste collectors, investors to take a part in our ongoing investment round, as well as sustainability enthusiasts to have a chat with me right here. Thank you so much. My name is Gurashish Sahani, and I'm from Recircle.
Well, I want to thank all of you because you have been part of really what these founders have brought today, which is inspiration and execution in equal measure. Thank you to all of you for sharing your stories and for really giving us a dose of energy and enthusiasm as we go out and greet the day. Thank you to our incredible judges who brought their excellence, their attention, their stories, and their experience to this conversation. And remember, for each of you, there is a role in making sure tomorrow is better than today. Thank you so much. And join us at 1:30 for Climate Resilience. Thank you.
Thank you for joining this session. Please make your way to the afternoon main stage session.